All right, we are live. I'm Selena Baca, founder, host, lead educator with the American Crochet Association, but I'm having this chat here on my personal Selena Baca Crochet page just because I am interested in having this conversation in as many places as possible with as many people as possible. So my good friend Amanda is here, and I'm actually going to be interviewing her, and this is mainly going to be about her and her thoughts and feelings and experiences because she has not only been a member of the American Crochet Association for a very, very, very long time. She's gone through our entire 12-course learning path. And she was eligible and received a private invitation to join our Crochet Instructor Training program that was only available to members. And she's been helping us build this program for like 6 months now. So we're almost ready to launch it. And she's been one of the pivotal members just helping us build it behind the scenes. And so I thought, who better to help have this conversation than Amanda? So, hey, Amanda.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad. So for those of you who don't know or who don't, behind the scenes, Amanda and I chat often. She helps so much. She is a pivotal member of the crochet community. She works hard every single day to just help make the crochet community a better place. So for those of you who don't, or for those people watching who may not know you, give us the speed dating version. Who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
Awesome. So I'm Amanda Woodbury, and I am a crochet designer. I'm a crochet instructor, and I'm also a maker. So I do a lot of, so you can find me on Amanda's Cute Crochet on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'm on Instagram, just Amanda Woodbury Crochet, and I share all of what I do all the time. And my passion is seriously just teaching. I love sharing crochet with those who need it the most. And that's pretty much where everything is going right now. I'm focusing on that right now.
Amazing. And that's why I love your journey so much, is that you started out just learning because you loved it, and then you were making things, and then you moved to, hey, I'm going to teach people. And so you're very much taking that progression. That's where you're going. So when did you personally decide, hey, I'm going to start teaching others? When did you decide that, and what does that mean for you?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. So when I decided to start teaching, it was not because I wanted to. I didn't have the mindset to think that I was good enough or that I knew what I knew. I wasn't confident in my skills. And I had my best friend, and she would bring her daughter over all the time. She was 12 at the time. For, oh my gosh, it was probably like 6 months. She would just be like, Amanda, teach me how to crochet. Teach me how to crochet. And I was like, no, I flat out refused. I was like, you don't even know. I can't even teach my kid to tie his shoes. I am not going to do that. So then they were over one day just hanging out, and she literally went into my stash, grabbed a yarn, the wrong yarn, by the way, but it was yarn, and a random hook, totally didn't even match each other. She sat down next to me and she said, I'm going to make a can cozy that you're making right now, and you're going to teach me. And I was like, I'm probably going to yell at you. And she's like, I don't care.
I'm probably going to yell at you.
And I was like, well, first of all, that yarn you chose, that ain't going to work. And that hook does not go with that yarn. So first of all, let's start there.
Oh my gosh. Right.
You got to do this and you got to do this. And she made a can cozy, and it was amazing. Like, her talent is just, it's so there. And I work with her a lot. She'll come, I let it be her choice because she is a teenager. And so it's really when she feels like it, she'll just say, hey, can you teach me what you're making? And I'm like, certainly, absolutely. And so it basically, and then I kind of had that mindset of like, if I can teach a 12-year-old, why the heck am I not sharing this with people who need it? And then I had to decide, like, who do I want to teach? Because I'm very business oriented in that fact. I'm like, okay, I want to be for certain people. So I went through certifications. I made sure I knew everything. And being in the ACA totally helped that. And then that's why I was like, when you invited me for the crocheting program, instructor program, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need right now.
And I think that's why you and I connect so much, is that I am very, like, in my mind, there's step 1 and step 10 to everything.
Mhm.
and I need to understand what those steps are. And that's how I learn. That's how I build, courses. And I think that you have that exact same mindset to where, for me, I feel I'm aware of what I do know and what I don't know.
Mhm.
And I try to fill in those gaps. And I feel like
Exactly.
you're kind of the same way. Yeah. I think that's why we chat.
Exactly. And that's the other thing too, is like I have that mindset where it's like, if I'm going to teach something, I need to know as much as I possibly can. So I will dive deep into a subject and
Yes.
I will just research and research and research and I will practice and I will, before I even think about applying it into my
Yes.
business or into my life,
Yes.
I've got to know everything about everything before I'm even like, hey, I admit that this and this and this.
No, I hear you. I hear you. All right. So fast forward. So you love crochet, you're crocheting, you um didn't want to, but you had your first student and then decided, wait a minute, okay, maybe there's something to this. It kind of opened some doors. So I'm probably fast forwarding a lot, but you joined the American Crochet Association.
Mhm.
What did that learning path, what did that mean to you? What do you think it gave you as a crocheter?
Oh my gosh, it gave me so much. It's hard to kind of narrow that down. So basically, when I first joined the ACA,
Mhm.
I knew I had beginner and easy level down,
Mhm.
and that wasn't going to be. And then, like, part of that whole, like, I have to know everything about everything. And so I was like, so when I started, I literally just one day typed in American crochet stuff. And the ACA popped up, and I was like, well, what is this? And that's when I started following you on Facebook and everything like that. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I need. This is everything with the 12 mastery course.
Mhm.
I'm going to learn everything that there is to know about yarn. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about the things that I'm using as the tools. And then I really learned gauge and swatching. That was like mind blowing
Mhm.
because, before I would see on a pattern, they'd have the word gauge and they had a measurement, but I ignored it because I didn't know what the heck it was and I didn't know why it was important. But taking that course,
Mhm.
it really was like, this totally makes sense. And now I'm obsessed with it. I'm like, I will not create a project without gauging or swatching first.
Yay! My
Yes.
work is done. No.
Exactly. So, it's like it just gave me so much more confidence. And it made me also realize that I was actually more experienced than I actually thought I was.
Mhm.
And then going through the skills and assessment course, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm even better than I thought I was. How did I get from there to here? And it was because of the 12 courses that I took. I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't even consider, it's just crazy how it's just like when you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this is, it's everything.
It's a good reference for anything that may come up in crochet. So
It
fast forward
is.
again, because really I'm so excited to talk to you about crochet instruction, but I felt like we needed to set the foreshadowing a little bit. So just to give, our listeners a little bit of feedback about why we don't just have open enrollment for the Crochet Instructor Training Program. That was something we considered way back in the day, but then we quickly realized that people have we don't have good tools to not only assess our skills but to grow our skills, and there's no clear path for that. And again, I very much, in everything that I do, I'm like, what is step one? Where is step one? I need that. So we only offer an invitation to join the Crochet Instructor Training Program after you take the first 6 courses at the American Crochet Association. So it's everything that you mentioned. It's yarn and tools and swatching and how to read a crochet pattern. So it's those fundamental things. Do you feel that having those courses gave you the tools and the resources that you needed so that when you took the instructor training course, you had something to refer back to? You had enough information to adequately explain to someone how to crochet.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. If I wouldn't have had that basic foundation of information, I wouldn't even know that I was teaching things in the right way. I wouldn't know, like, if one of my students had a question about yarn, what answer would I give them? go figure it out yourself. No, I'm like, having that foundation of information is like, oh, I can confidently show up for my students and my clients to say, to answer their questions about yarn, or why this hook is better than this hook, or what my opinions are on that. And so having that, and then like being able to read patterns in the first place. Yes, that's, you know, a little bit, that's kind of important when it comes to crochet. So, and, you know, we do work through that during, you know, learning process. And I think that's something, because if you don't know how to read a pattern, how can you teach somebody else to do the same thing? I mean, you got to have a foundation. And so that's why I really, really, really agree with the fact that we need to have a baseline of information, go through these courses first, then you'll be able to help another person completely understand and have a successful crochet experience themselves, because that's what it is. It's an experience to learn how to crochet. And so if you're not prepared, you can't prepare somebody else. Absolutely. And so that's why I totally agree with that. And I'm like, I'm all for that. I'm like, yes, let's vet, let's make sure that if they want to be an instructor, they know that they can do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of Amanda. Without naming names, without any, and you know, we don't have to do any of that. You have done a lot in the crochet arena. So you are the type of person who will look for what resources are out there. I'm going to do everything that I can to learn everything that I know. Can you say, just from your own personal experience, how do you feel that this course has given you what you need to feel successful as an instructor and to teach successfully? Do you feel that maybe there's other information that could be supplemental to this outside of what the American Crochet Association gives?
Yeah, totally. I think that when you decide to be a crochet instructor and you have the foundation information, you're ready to teach. I think you have to get into yourself and ask yourself, why are you going to teach? Who are you going to teach? Are you just going to teach the next person that walks in the door and says, hey, can I learn? Or are you going to go for a certain type of person, a clientele? And so I do believe that you have to, once you've made those decisions, and there's nothing wrong with whatever direction you want to go. If you want to do it for a hobby, totally cool. If you want to do it for a business the way I do it, totally cool. So I think that the way that you have created the instructor training program, it does give us lessons. I don't want to give too much away, but
no, you can go right on ahead. I want people to have as much information as possible about this. So
the way that the lessons are formatted, all the PDFs that you get, everything that is included in the whole package will set you up to be a successful instructor. All you have to do is make it personalized to you and your business and what direction you're going to take your business. So that's one of the things that I'm finding that I'm having to adjust to a certain way, because I am more of a career-driven instructor. I do mine as a career. And so I'm constantly looking for students. I'm constantly promoting my the courses that I offer. So for me, having that, and you know, having the how do I word it? Because I'm trying not to do a whole lot of naming, but how to run a business, how to run a crochet-based business. That type of information is going to be crucial for those of us who want to do this as a career. So having that as well would be really helpful. So I think right now the program is completely set up perfectly for you to have a start to decide where you want to teach, how you want to teach, and having everything broken down to, we're going to talk about the marketing. How are you going to tell people about it? Your pricing, how are you going to price it out? All of that information is there right at the beginning, and then it goes into the individual actual teaching parts. And I love that because that's not offered anywhere else. And when I went through another instructor program, I basically, it was like, prove to us you know how to crochet. Now write a lesson plan. Now write an essay about what your classroom is going to look like. And that was the hardest thing for me to figure out. That lesson gave me so much heartburn because I was like, but I'm not going to teach in a classroom.
Right.
I'm going to teach one-on-one. I'm going to teach privately. And so when this program came along and I was like all in, of course, yes, the way you have it where it is one-on-one is best, I was like, this is exactly what I need for me. This is literally exactly. And then all the lessons, everything just ties together so perfectly. And it's just this nice little pretty bow. Everything is on one. This is how you do it. And the way you have it timed out where you get this lesson, these certain lessons, and then everything else is like, okay, once you've completed this, now in the next few days and whatever your timetable is, having that set out is perfect too, because, you know, you're not going to have a student every 2 days. You're going to have it once a week or 2 weeks or however it works out.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you mentioned that one detail, because I think that one detail is one of the main reasons I wanted to launch this crochet instructor training program. So many people teach in groups, and I just, you know, I've been teaching long enough to where I felt, I don't know why people keep doing this. It's just, it baffles me that there are entire workshops dedicated to teaching people how to crochet. And I just feel like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That crochet it's so time sensitive, and you're building, not time sensitive, it's time intensive, but you're teaching people a new knowledge and a new skill. And it's so one-on-one that's one of our foundational learning points is don't have more than 2 people. Like the teacher to student ratio should not be more than 1 to 2. So yeah, so actually I didn't know that about some other training that you had. It was interesting that you mentioned that the program said to you, hey, you tell us how you're going to teach. Hey, you tell us what your classroom's going to look like. And in my opinion, I feel like, well, if you're training someone, if you're vetting someone how to be an instructor, it's completely the other way around. You know, when you're going to law school, it's not, hey, what kind of lawyer are you going to be? It's like, I don't know. How about you teach me?
Exactly. And, you know, that brings up a story. So, because I'm a storyteller, I love sharing.
Me too. I speak in stories. I know.
Yes. So it was a year ago, actually, not even quite a year ago. I think it was in September or whatever. I had an opportunity to go share crocheting with a local church group that I'm not involved in, but I was invited to teach them how to make hats and for a donation process. And I was like, okay. And because I was told, so, well, most of them know how to crochet already. It's just really a get together, just girls hanging out, you know, whatever. And so I was like, okay, I can probably teach. And then when I got there was like 12 or 13 women there, which I was like, holy moly, this actually came out a pretty good turnout. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, we're going to break up this group into 2 groups, those who've never crocheted before and those who have crocheted. If you have crocheted and you know how to make a hat, go over there, go do your thing. I'm here to support you if you get stuck or read a pattern or whatever. Those of you, and so I had about 6 of them that never had crocheted before. And then I was like, so I was nervous. And so I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And then I had to teach them everything, how to work in a round. I had to teach them the double crochet. I had to teach them chaining, how to hold. One of them was a left-handed 6-year-old. And I hadn't taught a left-handed person before. And it was a disaster. It literally, like, we only had 2 hours of time. None of them even got past round 1.
Yep.
Because it was just a disaster. However, though, I did successfully get 2 clients out of that, and I taught them one-on-one privately, and they became successful crocheters after that.
Exactly.
So teaching in groups is not the way to go. Like, I love people who think they can do that, and more power to you if you can. But it is not the best it is not the best option. It really
I just feel that there are a lot of people probably watching, and I've time and time again heard people go, no, I teach in groups all the time. No, I love that. It's community. And I say, sure. Is it a great time? Maybe it's a great time for 20% of the people. Or if it really is a great time for everyone involved, who is really learning? Also, there's some things that are stacked against you. Every single person is a different kind of learner. So again, when you need that one-to-one ratio to effectively teach someone how to use both of their hands and form yarn into making this fabric, your time to teach is going to be probably 3 or 4 times longer and not as successful, not as you're not going to advance. It's going to take you 30 minutes to go through the slip knot with 4 people, as opposed to just one-on-one, it taking 5 minutes maybe. So it's counterproductive because of how much longer it's going to take for you to effectively teach people.
Exactly. And that's why I agree with what you've mentioned before, is if you want to have a group of people crocheting together, workshops are great for that. But they already need to know how to do some crocheting to be able to complete the thing that you're going to make. Exactly. So, you know, like I had an outpouring people in my local community that was saying we would love to, you know, find some way to crochet together. And I said, fine. Here's a local group that I'm going to run. It's called the Fiber Arts Club. It includes knitting. It includes other types of fiber arts. It's a free community night. Once a month, we just come together. And if somebody happens to come in and bring a crochet project and they say, I don't know how to do this step, I am totally cool with helping them out with that. Yes. But I was very clear from the beginning, this is not a learn to crochet group. This is we're going to come and hang out and crochet and do other crafts together.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. You know, and this is why I'm having this conversation with Amanda, because she brings up points that I would have never thought of. What my hope is for this crochet instructor training workshop as well, and let me know what you think, Amanda, is that this program is absolutely for people who want to take a professional route, just like Amanda. This is Amanda's profession. She is a all-day, everyday crochet instructor, and she is utilizing this program to its full potential, to its full advantage. But this program, I hope, is even for people who love crochet, who may just pass it on to their children, who may just pass it on to their random friends. Just because you're taking this crochet instructor training program does not mean it is your all-day, everyday job you're charging. If that is what you want, we do offer guidelines and, you know, valuable questions that you can ask and answer to set up that business model for yourself. But again, you could just be a mom and you want to teach your kids. You could be an avid crocheter in your community and maybe you want to just teach your friends when they're ready. It's a program that helps you to understand what you know and how to pass on that knowledge to another person in an effective way.
Exactly. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. Like, I'm totally cool with, like, that's, you know, that was my original thought was, you know, when my 12-year-old, you know, she's my friend too. You know, when she's like, will you teach me? I was like, I guess if you really want me to. And I never really thought about it. But then, you know, when I really started offering it to people who had followed my crochet page, I had a couple other friends, and because I shared that, I was like, hey, I taught this person. They're like, oh, you want to teach me? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I can, you know, and like, I loved that. But then I also had my own personal profession aha moment when I realized the direction that I want to go with my teaching. It's, you know, it's not, I don't teach for the sake of teaching others how to crochet. And that's totally fine. If that's what anybody else wants to do, I will support you. No, absolutely with that. I love that we're sharing this with the next generation and sharing it with the older generations who maybe tried to learn before, but they don't have they weren't taught correctly, or they were just taught frustratedly. And so we have this ability to teach them correctly, and having this ability and this tool of the Crochet Instructor Training Program, having this as our background is amazingly helpful, because we can literally teach anyone from any age. With, you know, there's some kids in there that probably aren't ready, but, you know, and then you touch on that, like, how do you know, like, when a child is ready to learn? You know, I actually had an experience with that this morning with my 8-year-old. You know, he heard me talking about it and he's like, Mom, let's just do it. And I'm like, you're not ready, but okay. And he, you know, I mean, Poor loving son of mine. He didn't even get through the chain stitch without saying, okay, I can't do this.
You know, I'm
It's like
glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because that is something that we touch on in our course. Like it was a question specifically geared towards children, but just to
Mhm.
show how comprehensive this course is, we talk about what about teaching children? Well, hey, it's the same thing. Don't roll in on a second grade class and go, we're all going to learn to crochet today because you're kids and that's what we do.
Oh,
Again,
no, don't do that.
one, you don't want workshops. But then also we say this for children, but it's the same for adults or teenagers or, whoever. There are a few characteristics that tell you whether or not that person's ready. First and foremost, are they interested? Because if a person's not really interested, they're not going to really be invested. Can they sit still for at least 30 minutes? And again, maybe you're 8, maybe you're 18. If you can't sit still long enough and you're not interested, you're not going to pick it up as quickly or as easily. And also, are you going to be interested enough to practice even after your instructor leaves? It's like guitar or any other kind of thing that you're building your knowledge and your skill. You have to put it to practice to be good. And so those 3 things are true for children or for anyone who's interested in crochet.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I was showing him how to do the chain stitch, I was like, okay, you got to do it this way. And I was like, okay, so now you need to practice this for the next 10 minutes. And he was like, what? I have to sit here for 10 more minutes? I'm like, yes. And I'm going to go do this. And then I'll come back and check on you. I was like, and when we're done, you're going to practice 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, serious? I'm like, yeah. Like, this is my job. I'm not your mom right now. I'm your teacher.
Aww.
This is your homework. And he was just like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I'm like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Like he struggled trying to get that chain stitch. And so I was like, you know what? It's totally fine that you're not ready yet. Mm-hmm. But when you are, I am here for you.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Like he totally gets the other check boxes. He can sit for 30 minutes. He's my calm child. So he can sit for 30 minutes. He is interested in learning. And I know that if he wants to, he can handle the practice, taking the practice time. I just think it was sitting down and physically putting it in his hands and saying, now this is what I expect of you.
Right.
Then he finally realized, oh, okay, so this is a little bit more than I was thinking. It's not just sitting on the couch and crocheting with my mom, which is totally fine. I would love him to do that with me.
Goals. No.
Exactly. But, it's just like, so I told him, like, let's give it a couple of days. Let's give it a week. I'm intending for it to be a little longer than that, but that's just how his mind works.
Absolutely.
And so I think when it comes to children, if you're going to teach your own child, you know your child best. You're going to be able to know exactly what they are ready for. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I would say would be hard and maybe a little bit of an advice for other crochet instructors who want to teach children or have that possibility of teaching children is if it's not your own child, even if it's your grandchild, you really have to talk to the parent and say, you really get a feel for the child, get a feel for their personality. What types of things do they like? What are they interested in? How can you adjust your lesson to something that's in their interest? Because then they are going to be interested and be able to pay attention. And you've got to be able to work with that, because you might have a kid that's ready and that can sit, but also might get distracted easy. So you have to be able to be like, okay, talk to that parent, say, what tricks do you do to get them to, pay attention long enough? Are they over distracted easily? So then maybe they aren't as ready as you want them to be. So you really have to ask yourself a lot of questions and then ask the parent a lot of questions, because you might have a lot of parents that say, hey, I want my daughter to have a craft that's going to help her or to keep her busy. But if she doesn't want to do it, she's not going to do it. You can't force this on a child.
That's right.
I mean, it's just like, there's just so much. It's not just, there's so much in-depth questions to any student that you have. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize right off the bat, is it's not just, walking in and learning something in an hour and a half. It's okay, can you really actually get into your soul and find out, does this person honestly want to truly learn? because it's something that they're going to do for the rest of their life. Hopefully, we hope that. We want that. It's not, let's learn how to crochet for the next 2 weeks and then be done with it and say, yeah, that was a fun time. You know, that's why we teach others how to crochet. You know, we teach them. That's why grandmothers passed it down to their children and their grandchildren back in the day, because it's a legacy. We want them to do it for a long time. And so you really have to determine, is this person, including a child's a person, do they have it in them to continue? Is it worth the time?
I think that's part of it. I think it goes back to, are they interested? Are they going to practice? Can they sit still? I think that's true for anyone, but I agree with everything that you said pertaining to this being a legacy. And that was another reason it was so important that we put together this program, is assuring that we know enough about our craft and our skill that we can effectively pass it on and it be a legacy. Is crochet for everyone? No, it's not. But for, we needed to at least, and I felt this way because of the way the way I learned was all the wrong ways. I learned in a group setting. We started working in the round at the age of 5. I wasn't successful. I hated it. Then we all made granny squares. Like, I learned all the wrong ways. But, at the age of 5, I was so interested that I continued it. So a lot of my classmates, a lot of people that I grew up with, because we all learned in a classroom setting, most of them were like, crochet, did we crochet? Oh, we did in kindergarten. Oh yeah, I don't even remember that. So it's like, I persevered because I was interested, but what can we do to pass this on so that people who are interested won't have all of those same hurdles? And so that's essentially what the learning path is, and this instructor training course is that when you do find someone who's interested, they aren't going to have any of those hurdles that most of us face.
Exactly.
All right. And on that note, I have not ignored everyone here. I've just been in deep discussion, fun discussion with Amanda. Jackie Ramsdale says, congratulations, Amanda.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. And Anne is here. Hi, Anne. She's also one of your classmates at the instructor training program. She says, hello, Selena and Amanda. And she also says, Anne says, taking the instructor's course without those first 6 lessons would be like going to college without having gone to high school first.
Exactly.
I say that all the time. Actually, I just transitioned to just calling it an associate's degree. You may have dabbled in crochet, you may kind of know things, and that's great. That's what you did in high school. I kind of know things. That's what high school is. But really, the learning path is an associate's degree. So yeah, you have to kind of know things before you get your associate's degree, but that's what we're trying to do.
It's very important.
That's right. And Nora is here. She says, hello, Selena and Amanda. Thank you for watching, Nora. Anne also says, I wanted to get into teaching originally because I had so many friends saying, I wish I could do that. She says, however, the way I learned was so sloppy. She says, self-learning in the 90s. I get it. She said, so I needed a program that would make the learning process more smooth for my students. Absolutely. Amen,
exactly.
sister. Amen, sister. All right. Well, that's all the comments. That was most of what that was the conversation I was hoping we would have, Amanda. Amanda, is there anything else you want to say about yourself, your skills, your abilities, the learning path, the crochet instructor training program?
I don't know. I said a lot already. No, I'm just so amazingly grateful for the program that you've created, and I'm loving teaching it. It really opened my eyes to a different way of teaching, and where it is the one-on-one, and knowing that what I'm teaching is the most successful possible way to teach, and having the ACA learning path as a backup. I can't even tell you how many times I've had a question and I've referenced a course from the ACA. If I have a student and I'm like, oh, I don't remember what that means, or why, how to teach. Teaching gauge is a whole nother thing than learning it yourself. So, I've had to go back and I've had to reference it. And that's what I love, that it's just so combined. And it's like, that's part of the reason why you have to go through these 6 courses first, because then you have that basic knowledge, but then you have the courses to fall back on when you have a question and you might not remember it. And, so that's just, I don't know. So I'm just excited, and I love teaching, and I don't know. It's just my passion. So I light up completely when we talk about this. I love it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I do too, is the Crochet Training Instructors Program. I said that backwards, but anyway. So,
it's wonderful, I know.
Yeah. So what I love about it too is the fact that once your student goes through all 6 of these lessons, they are essentially prepared to join the ACA and the learning path. So then they can expand on their own knowledge if they so choose to. Can they crochet on their own for the next 2 years without needing to go somewhere else to learn, to join in the ACA? Totally fine. Put them in the group, invite them to join, at least in the group, join the have a conversation, and stuff like that, because, and I've been talking to my students about that. It's like, hey, come check out the ACA, see if maybe there's something more that's, more than the lessons that I taught you, a little bit more clarification on certain things. You're ready for it. You have the foundation knowledge. You know how to do these things. You know how to read a pattern. Let's make you better. Let's continue your education.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, is just, getting the next generation ready to get that baseline of education. And when we know better, man, how much better can we do when we know better? Seriously. All right, everybody. So that is it. That is it for my chat today. Impromptu chat with Amanda, who I'm always so excited to talk about. If you guys, if you've never heard of the ACA, or if you're interested and you want to learn more, you guys can always click on over to American Crochet Association.org to see our 12-course learning path. It is your personal journey to crochet mastery. If you guys want to reach out to Amanda specifically, she is one of our advocates. So I'm also sending people to Amanda. I will drop her link in this video show note today. You can find her and her group in the show notes today so that you can join either. And just, if you have any questions about her and her experience with the ACA, or with her experience joining the training course, or just her as a professional crochet instructor, she is definitely someone I think that you could talk to learn more.
I definitely love talking about crochet all day, every day. So if anybody has any questions, they can totally reach out to me. I'm all over Facebook. So
yeah. We'll drop your links in the show notes so that you guys can see where to reach Amanda. And yeah, she's definitely someone that that we trust, that you guys can reach out to. All right, everyone. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. It's always fun to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this chat about the American Crochet Association and our Crochet Instructor Training Program. You can find links and some additional details in the show notes. You guys can join today to get started, or just send us an email if you have any questions. All right. Peace, love, crochet. See you guys next time.